the June 8th.
June 8th.
June 8th SWAT Podcast. As it sits today, the Washington Capitals just won the Stanley Cup last night.
I know, I thought this day would never come.
The Cleveland Cavaliers, they didn't win anything. The Warriors are up 3-0.
Yeah, the Cavs are still, well, they're done. Well, actually, they're still done.
And we are less than 1 week away from Russia 2018 FIFA World Cup.
Yep.
So it's a big week in sports right now.
It's a good summer. I love World Cup summers because usually summers are like very low key.
Yeah.
Just baseball, NFL off season.
Well, yeah, because I mean MLS isn't a very big soccer league in the world,
Right.
and so
And there's a reason they go opposite schedule.
yes,
From the European leagues.
yes.
So yeah.
it's basically just baseball in the summer.
Like every other summer, you have some sort of huge soccer tournament. So this is one of them, and it's exciting.
At least last summer, like 2017, was it kind of interesting because at least like NBA free agency was interesting. You know, like,
yeah,
there was a lot happening with trades and players going new places.
And LeBron will be in that conversation again.
Oh yeah,
but
do you think he goes with Paul George somewhere? Because I think there are two teams that could pull it off with both LeBron and Paul George, and it's the Lakers and the 76ers. Like, both of those teams could pull off signing both Paul George and LeBron. But I digress.
Yeah.
Because I know what we should talk about first is Alex Ovechkin winning his first Stanley Cup.
It's about time. Not only is it about time, he's never even made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Until this year.
Well, they kept running into the Penguins, didn't they?
Yeah. And this year, they ran into the Penguins again.
In the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah. But this time, they made it through, which I think may have been the only series where they weren't down. Because they were down 2-0 in the first series.
That's right.
Got 4 in a row.
Yep.
Then they faced the Penguins, which I believe they were up. They kind of alternated the first 4 games. And then won 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were down. They were up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Lost the next 3 to win the next 2. To win a road game. Game 7 road game. And then they were down 1-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals and won the next 4. So they pulled off what we thought was impossible to pull off for them. They finally changed the narrative of their franchise.
Congrats to the first major championship for a Washington-based sports team in, what was it, 26 years?
Yeah, a long time. I think since the Redskins won.
In the mid-90s.
Maybe early 90s. No, it might have been late 80s.
Early 90s. 26 years ago, 92.
So the 90... Yeah, it's like the 91 season or something. Yeah, the year before the Cowboys went on their run. I think was the year. So
congrats. And we were kind of talking about this, and I think Kevin mentioned this in our little group chat, but winning a sports title in the city of Las Vegas.
I know.
There's probably not a better place to be.
and Vegas can say that the cup was hoisted in their city.
That is true.
Already.
That is true. There's already been a Stanley Cup hoisted in Vegas.
So much going on. So yeah, they didn't have to go very far to go celebrate. I'm sure they were already staying at, one of the casino hotels.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just went to the room, dropped some stuff off, and go downstairs.
They went downstairs. Yep.
And go party.
Yeah.
They probably already had arrangements made just in case they won.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they're
probably still partying.
Or was it Kevin that mentioned that, like, after the Cavs won the finals, LeBron flew his team to Vegas to party.
Right. Instead of being in Oakland.
Yeah. I mean, dude, can you imagine? Like, that's got to be two of the worst sports cities to try and party in the night after winning is Oakland and Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You got better luck in D.C.
I mean, I'd probably go to Vegas, too, instead of Oakland. Like, that's not our hometown.
No.
Like, we can just fly, maybe like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And go party somewhere else.
I think, what was I seeing? It was a Twitter post. It was like an MLB Cut 4 or something said, well, 99% of the Nationals roster is happy that the Caps won because Bryce Harper's from Vegas.
Yes.
it was very funny.
He won no matter what.
Yeah.
But maybe this gives hope to the Nationals because the Nationals are now the Capitals.
Yeah, the Washington sports team that can't make
Just
it far in the playoffs.
Any sports team.
Oh, yeah.
They're one of those teams now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're kind of like the Chiefs. You got the Chiefs, the Nationals, that group of teams that is always there and then never gets anywhere. Except the Nationals have that star player like Ovechkin.
Yeah.
So maybe
So like the Vikings?
Maybe now.
Maybe.
And now if they don't win, they're gonna beat the Capitals real quick.
Yeah.
Because now they got Kirk Cousins. So you got those group of teams now that maybe give hope and hope that they can do something finally. Yeah. Since Washington hasn't won a playoff series in baseball.
That's rough, man.
You know, since moving there.
Yeah. Did you see that Max Scherzer threw his second immaculate inning?
Yeah, I did. I watched every pitch.
And like the list of pitchers that have multiple immaculate innings, it's like Lefty Grove.
Yeah, it's like the greatest pitchers of all time.
Ryan, Sandy Koufax, and like it's unreal. And,
it was
and like Max Scherzer.
Yeah, it was it Roger Clement? No, it was Randy Johnson.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. That's a good list. He's okay. He's okay.
Yeah, I'd say.
He's won Cy Youngs in both leagues.
I think, what was it? It was like on this day, like 8 years ago or 9 years ago, or it was like last week, the Tigers had sent him down to the minors, like at this point in the season, and his ERA was at like 7.5. And here we are 8 years later talking about maybe one of the greatest pitchers ever.
Yeah.
I mean, for most guys, like especially in the sport of baseball, for most guys, like you either have it or you don't, right? And so like Felix Hernandez, just as an example, like Clayton Kershaw, those guys, like they were dominating year one. And so to see a guy like Max Scherzer struggle to break into the league, struggle to stay in the league, and then be such a dominant force for 8 years, it truly is why baseball is probably one of the most pure just sports. I mean, it's the meritocracy of all sports. You either get it done or you don't.
I'm gonna see where he was drafted.
Scherzer?
Yeah. Let's see. MLB debut was for the Diamondbacks. Okay. Did not know that. Let's see. Professional career, 11th overall pick. So he was
a highly rated prospect.
It's like all these prospects. They're all super talented, and it's a matter of them getting there. I don't know what the difference is. Confidence, coaching, both. The perfect formula. Like maybe he found a coach. He was just like, boom, it clicked. Or a coach helped him create his like a changeup or a splitter, you know, like whatever.
You want to talk about coaching? Because we were just talking about John. Is it John Daniels or is it Josh Daniels for the general manager for the Rangers who just got the extension?
John.
It's John. See, like I don't even care enough to know his first name.
You're thinking of Josh McDaniels.
I am thinking of Josh McDaniels.
Who we also don't talk about.
Yeah, but John Daniels just got extended by the Rangers.
Yep.
I don't even want to know what the contract is. Because the fact that
it's through 2020,
the fact
it wasn't very long.
Anybody in the entire organization that has anything to do with talent acquisition and pitcher development has a job through this time period is laughable. It's laughable. I mean, these are the types of decisions that keep decent teams at best bad.
They have no pitching. They have no minors.
And we've talked about this before. The best starting pitcher the franchise has ever developed under John Daniels.
Under like their own draft pick.
And John Hart is Derek Holland.
John Hart's terrible
Derek
too.
Holland, who they let walk because he wasn't good enough to make the rotation this year.
Yeah, and he's not good enough to be on the White Sox either.
Well, now he's in San Francisco.
Yeah, with like a... Actually, I was kind of surprised his ERA was under 5 last time I looked.
Because he's in like one of the pitchers' parks of all pitchers' parks.
Yeah.
Because the dude's just giving up bombs, but they're dying 413 feet in right center field.
Yeah, they haven't been able to develop anything, really. The next closest is Martin Perez. He's basically another Derek Holland.
He's so much worse than Derek Holland.
I don't know. He's pretty much the same.
The only reason that Martin Perez is even in the major leagues is his ability to get the occasional ground ball. Because if that guy couldn't get double plays, like if he couldn't get the ball down in the zone ever, like his ERA would be 10. Like he can't get...
I feel like double plays produced is kind of a weird stat because that means you're letting guys on.
Yes.
When you lead the league in double plays, it's like, well, you are
that means
allowed...
that there are a lot of runners on base.
Yeah, that means your whip is probably too high.
Yes. Yes.
So it's one of those weird stats where it's good, yet it's bad.
Double plays for me, they're called the pitcher's best friend, but really as a pitcher, you know you're lucky when you get a double play. I mean, so like you can execute a pitch, say it's a 1-strike count, and you throw a really good sinker that drops away from the hitter, and he rolls over. So like you can execute the pitch, but the fact that you have the situation that you have to get out of with a double play, you're fortunate to get out of the situation because there's still no guarantee that your team's going to turn the double play behind you. Because there's not a lot of time to do it. We need to get off the Rangers because I can spend the entire podcast just crushing this organization.
They're not going to be relevant for a while.
Well, it was something that I mentioned this morning was the only free agent that they have attracted that's worth anything, because Shin-Soo Choo, even though he's going to have a great year this year because it doesn't mean anything, right? The only free agent that they've attracted who is worth anything supplanted the franchise cornerstone. And then you ruined your relationship with Michael Young because you signed Adrian Beltre to play his position. And
there's one other free agent that was pretty good.
Free agent?
Technically, yeah.
Who?
You, Darvish.
Man. But we didn't have to outbid it. Like we just paid more money than anyone else.
Yeah.
He didn't choose us.
Well, he kind of did. You pay to talk to him.
Yeah.
And he still has to sign. He didn't have to sign.
You're right, because his other option was to stay in Japan.
Or he could have just tried it again, I think, the next year. Whatever.
Exactly. Like Yu Darvish's only option, because this is how broken the transfer negotiations are between the leagues. His only option was to take a crappy contract from the Rangers because they spent $54 million just to talk to him, or stay in Japan for another year. Well, of course he was going to come over.
Yeah, well, it worked.
Yeah, and the Cubs are regretting that now too.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't want the Rangers to re-sign him, because you get too old at some point.
It's ridiculous, man. They're a joke. Honestly, they're a joke.
They don't know how to draft pitching. They don't really know how to draft, but pitching, and then they've spent all these resources on playoff runs that they have nothing left. Yeah. They're all in Philly or / Milwaukee.
I mean, you just look at the Rangers prospects that are around the league. I mean, just on Philly, Odubel Herrera and Nick Williams.
Yep.
And what was the Rangers catcher of the future?
Wasn't there a pitcher they traded?
And Jared Eckhoff.
Yeah. Which he was doing okay. I haven't kept up with him, but I know he was doing decent last year. And then
you look at the Brewers,
yeah,
what they gave up for Lucroy and the Lewis Brinson deal, which brought the Brewers Christian Yelich.
Yep.
And now Lewis Brinson is the starting center fielder in Miami.
Yep. And then they traded a couple guys to New York for Beltran.
The one trade that they've made that I was absolutely 100% on board with was the Justin Smoke for Cliff Lee player rental. That's the only trade that they've made.
Yeah, that was fine because it took Justin Smoke 7 years afterwards to finally get it together.
Yeah,
and it was in Toronto.
Well, I mean, just think of the first baseman in the recent league history that were in the Rangers organization. Everybody from was it Travis Hafner to Adrian Gonzalez to Justin Smoke to Chris Davis.
Yep.
to Mitch Moreland now.
Yep.
And like all of those guys were in the Rangers organization within a 7-year period.
Yep.
And what value did you get for them? Kevin Millwood?
The GOAT.
Like the only guy you got any value for was Cliff Lee, who single-handedly carried the team past the Rays in the playoffs.
They need pitching, and then they trade Darvish and get like 3 players, one of which is even probably ever going to make the majors, and he's a hitter who
you talking about Calhoun?
Yeah, who they don't really know where to put him in the field.
That dude's awful.
So
like he's not good.
He'll be like a 250, 260 hitter in the majors. And the other guys won't ever sniff the majors. But they need pitching. Like, you trade these guys to get pitching. Whatever. They did take a pitcher, though, with their first pick in the draft.
They need to take pitchers with their first 15 picks in the draft.
Which is funny because the MLB draft, so, like, let's say they're terrible this year, which they are, although they did sweep the A's. Let's say they have, like, a top 5 pick or something. That pick won't even be drafted for 1 year until, like, this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if he's God's gift to Earth, he's not even on the team until, 2020? Because he was your 2019 pick, which is halfway through the year.
Yeah.
So then he's not even on the team. You know what I mean?
I will say, baseball does the draft wrong. They do it wrong. Like, it's the only professional sport where the draft is not during the offseason.
Right.
And the players don't immediately join their teams. And, like, I think it should be similar to the...
And I don't think they can trade either.
You can trade picks?
I don't think so.
I honestly don't know if...
Not before you pick them. Like, you can't just trade pick for pick.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah, I don't think they can do that.
Like, it's the only sport where the draft is not in the offseason. The players don't join their teams. I'd like to see it more like the NFL, actually, where players declare for the draft. And if you get drafted...
You could be drafted like 3 times.
If you get drafted, you go. But yeah, you can be drafted, like you're saying, 3 different times. You can be drafted out of high school, go to college, be drafted after 2 years of college, and then be drafted again.
Right.
You know, and it's like... You need to declare. And I will say, I do like what baseball does with the high school kids, where they don't have to declare for the draft, and they can get drafted, and then they have the option.
Or they can go to junior college
exactly,
and still get drafted again the next year.
I do like that players can be drafted multiple times, but not out of college. I think if for the college players, you need to declare for the draft, and then when you get drafted, you go. And I think that the draft should be in January. I think they should have the winter meetings in December, and then the draft like 3 weeks later in January. And if you get like Kyler Murray, for example, just got drafted, the Oklahoma starting quarterback most likely, also outfielder for the Oklahoma Sooners baseball team. He was drafted 9 overall. Go. If that's what you're going to do, he should already be with the A's organization. The A's are in the middle of the season.
I know.
And if Kyler Murray, if you're going to take somebody number 9 overall, he's probably starting in high A or double A.
Yeah, immediately.
And if he's in their minor league organization, now he has a chance to be invited to spring training next year and be an impact player for that franchise next season.
Yeah. Or at worst by like next summer, yeah.
It's like the Chris Bryant thing with the Cubs. Whereas, like, they took him number 2 overall because the Astros drafted Greg Oden, and the Cubs got Kevin Durant. That is what happened.
It is.
It's in fact, it's worse because Greg Oden never played for the Astros. At least Greg Oden played like 20 games for the Trailblazers, right? But Mark Appel literally never played for the Astros.
Yeah, that was solid. It worked out though. Worked out for both sides.
It's the same thing with Chris. Like Chris Bryant was drafted, but because of where the draft is, he was done with his college career. He did join the Cubs organization immediately. He was invited to spring training the next year because he was that caliber of player. But I would like to see, if possible, and I don't think the colleges would do this, but if they could play their schedule in the fall. They won't do it because they're not going to. The schools probably don't really have the resources to fund travel for both football and baseball and basketball teams all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's logistical problems, right? But the draft needs to be in the offseason so that you can draft these top 10 picks can be in spring training the year they're drafted. Like the pipeline for these young players to get to the big leagues, there are too many roadblocks. And it's not even intentional. It's just you're not drafted until June. You're not with the team until August.
And that's why there's no hype for the draft.
And then you only get 20 games in August. You can't prove anything in 20 games to get an invite to spring training the next year. So, like, every single player that gets drafted, it takes them like a year and a half just to be invited to spring training. And it's like, we should, like, the only players that have that hype were Strasburg and Harper.
Yeah,
right?
they're usually top picks.
And that's just because they were considered to be once-in-a-generation type talents, and one was a pitcher and one was a position player, and they went to the same team back-to-back years.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but we should be hyped about Kyler Murray going number 9 overall, or, you know, Chris Bryant with a number 2 pick, because we should be able to see these guys make impacts faster. And that's another problem with Major League Baseball is like the gray area of the rookie contract before arbitration,
right?
And then the arbitration years
of service,
where you're paying Chris Bryant. He wins like $8 million in arbitration. The dude's worth $28 million.
Yeah,
this season, you know, and it's like the contracts are a little off, but it's what MLB has probably the strongest players union out there.
Yeah,
but it's
they agreed to it, I guess.
Yeah, man.
I mean, at some point, if you're really good, you're gonna get paid, and everything's guaranteed. So
yeah,
you know, once you hit that age 25 or whatever you are, you know, you're pretty much set.
I think the NFL is gearing towards guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, that'll be a big talking point in the next CBA in a couple of years.
Well, I've never understood the like salary cap implications of, well, we're going to offer you $75 million, but only 42 of it's guaranteed, and we're going to pay you 32 up front, and so it's like the guy counts 6 against the cap in his last year of the contract.
There's something with signing bonuses that can decrease your cap value,
and you can transfer money from salary to bonus, and
it's little things like that can help you in the short term but hurt you in the long term.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of what the Cowboys did with Romo all those years. Mm-hmm. They kept restructuring it for the now, and then later on, it would hurt them.
They kept biting them.
Yeah, or whatever would happen. Then they ended up having dead money, so whatever. But
I mean, at the end of the day, there's no perfect way to pay players that isn't 100% incentive based, right? Where it's like,
you play
this
well,
player
you
does
get paid.
this, so you get this much money. But that would actually detract from the competitiveness of the sport, because then everybody's out there to get theirs.
Yeah.
And you have quarterbacks who they're not going to throw into double coverage, because if they hit that 10 interception mark, they lose $1 million.
Right.
You know?
Check downs.
Exactly. and it's like, oh, if I can throw for a 65% completion, I get a $500,000 bonus. And then like there are incentives worked into contracts.
Yeah, but
if the entire contract was incentive,
it's usually award based.
Yeah, like if you're, you know, all pro.
Yeah.
Or if you make the Pro Bowl.
Or if you win the Super Bowl.
Or you play every snap, you know, those types of things.
Now with like defensive players, it might be sacks.
Yes.
Where that's fine. You're usually
your job is to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, you're not usually going out of a scheme to get a sack.
Yeah.
You're just beating a man one-on-one.
Yeah.
Which is what you were going to do anyway.
And you're not going to offer a sacks incentive to your safety.
Right.
So
it's
not like he's just going to.
He might get an interception one or something, you know, or whatever.
A ball hawk one.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, though, is like if you in baseball, for example, if you were to offer incentives for home runs, you know, we're already kind of seeing that.
Yeah, you basically get paid to do it anyway. If you had a ton of home runs, you're going to get a big contract.
You get paid to get on base and hit the ball over the fence. And so what we're seeing is there's a lack of balls hit in play because everybody is just swinging for the fence or taking walks.
Yep.
And
they get paid for it when they're a free agent.
I heard a quote. This was probably a couple weeks ago, and it says, all innovation changes the game, but not all innovation improves the game.
Yeah. Change does not mean improvement.
No.
Change is just change.
Yep.
So there's a fine line. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't.
You know what else? There's a fine line.
What?
The NBA Finals.
Yeah,
there's a pretty fine line between the Warriors.
There's a finish line.
Yeah. What was it tomorrow?
It's tonight.
It's tonight. What time tonight?
I don't know. 8 Central.
That sounds right.
It's late because of the coast to coast thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's 8 Central tonight.
Do you think the Cavs win tonight?
No.
Gentleman sweep or just straight sweep?
Just straight.
I have heard that some rumblings out of the Warriors locker room that their goal is to sweep LeBron straight out of Cleveland.
They might as well. They could have done it last year. They could have swept him last year, didn't. So
Well,
do it this year.
I don't know if they could have last year.
Well,
because
not swept him out.
But I'm remembering how well the Cavs shot from 3 in that game. They set like a playoffs record for.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they make like 23?
Yeah, they
out
did.
of like 45 or something stupid.
It's easy to shoot when there's no pressure.
Exactly. So like you can see that it's like Rodney Hood's gonna chuck up 8 threes tonight. You know, Kevin Love might go 5 of 7.
J.R. Smith scores 37 points.
Like, I will say that's the one thing about the NBA math equation that does bother me, where if you can just sink a ton of threes, you're gonna win the game. You know? Like you don't have to be the better defensive team. You don't even have to be the better offensive team. You just have to sink a bunch of threes.
But it's harder to shoot those.
It is harder to shoot them. But there's always going to be that one-off game where your shot's going in. It's like Jordan when he closed his eyes and shot the free throw. And then he was going down the court. He's like, you know, it's like there's always going to be that one-off game where you just can't miss. And you're just not going to lose that game.
Yeah. Or you chuck them all up and you pull a Rockets and you miss all of them.
Well, it's like Kevin Durant a couple nights ago. What did he score? 43 points on 23 shots?
Yeah.
13 rebounds, 7 assists.
He was 6 for 9 from 3.
He was 6 for 9, and the last one that he hit from 3 was like 10 feet beyond the line.
Yeah, he was deep.
He literally was just dribbling the ball out there, just waiting for the shot clock to go down, and then with like 3 seconds left, he's like, I think I'll just shoot from here. Just drains it. It's like, I do think... And this might just be me personally. I think that the 3-point line is not deep enough.
Not anymore, maybe. Not for some people.
And what I've heard...
But it's plenty deep for the Cavs who can't seem to hit one.
Yeah. Well, it's just... I mean, you got guys like Devin Booker, Damian Lillard. They're just throwing it up from anywhere.
Yeah, because they can.
Exactly.
Which, good for them. That means they worked on it.
But what would help the math equation is if... And this is not my original idea, but if you were to extend the arc out, say 2-3 more feet, and you don't cut off the semicircle in the corners, and so the curve just runs straight to the sideline, like as the curve, it just curves into the sideline.
So no corner
so
threes.
There's no corner 3. Every 3-point shot is 25 feet from the basket or whatever, right? And there's no corner 3. Then there's no reason for guys to stand in the corner just to stretch the defense out, to make it a lot easier for guys to drive the lane. It would completely change offense in the NBA.
Oh yeah, but then there'd be no point scored.
Well, it wouldn't be that there's no point scored.
I mean, you could still stand over there; it'll just be worth 2.
Exactly.
I don't know. It'd be interesting.
It would bring back the interior defender, because I mean, right now. Kevin Love, Karl Anthony Towns, they are guarding the perimeter. And if you put Andre Drummond back in the lane 100% of the time, it changes the entire equation of the NBA.
And honestly, their shooting is what opened up their offense a lot, the Warriors, because the Cavs stretch so far out that the backdoor cuts and the layups, they have so many layups and dunks.
Yeah.
Because of how they shoot the 3.
Well, and it was what I was reading. I couldn't believe this when I saw it. This season in the NBA, the Warriors shot less three-pointers than the average team in the NBA. They had the 17th most attempts, but they're the most efficient team from three.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why their offense is so good is that you have to guard 2-3 feet past the arc and the corners, and so they're getting uncontested layups and dunks all game.
Yep, good passing, good ball movement, easy buckets.
Easy buckets.
And that's, I think it was game 2, because I didn't really watch much of the third game, but I think it was the second game. The Warriors scored, I think, their first 15 points. They had 6 layups and dunks and 1 Curry 3. It was all dunks and layups mixed in with a 3 in there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, just everything backdoor just wide open. Just everything. Because they're swarming the 3.
JaVale McGee had, 6 points out of the first 8 for the Warriors in Game 3? Because it was just dunk, and then Klay Thompson hit a jumper and then dunk for McGee.
And that's what he did in was it the first series or second series when he played quite a bit. Yeah. You know, he was just always
dunking the ball.
He was scoring all their points early.
Yeah.
Because he's just wide open on the pick and roll because both guys go to the shooter. And you leave the roll, boom, dunk.
Yep.
Easy money. That's what makes the Warriors dangerous, is they're shooting, but then they're passing.
Yeah. You buying this narrative that LeBron had enough help last night?
No, he never has. He never has. He never has enough help. But
it's like what I was hearing.
But he can't do any more. If people are saying, "Oh, he needs to do more," what more can he do?
Yeah.
He almost willed them to one win, which is a miracle.
I know. Well, that was game 1. He scored 49 points in regulation.
Yeah, the one game they could have won, it wouldn't have made a difference. But the fact that they almost won a game is a miracle because he's got nothing
in Oakland.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of Kevin Love. Love scored 20 on 13 shots.
I think Kevin Love is further out of his prime than LeBron is physically. I think.
Yeah.
I think, what was it? It was 3 calendar years ago, 4 NBA playoffs ago, when Kelly Olynyk ripped Kevin Love's shoulder out of its socket.
Oh yeah,
he's a different player.
That sucked.
He has not been the same player. It's the same thing with Kyrie playing through that knee injury in the playoffs, and he's just had the reoccurring knee problems ever since. It's like Kevin Love is further from his prime than LeBron James is, and I personally don't think Rodney Hood is a mature enough NBA player. I don't mean mature as in attitude. I just mean I don't think he has enough NBA seasoning. He wasn't ready for this moment in the playoffs. Now, he had a good game in Game 3, but when the playoffs came around and they thought he was going to be the starting 2 guard, he was not ready to be that guy. And he might be now because now he's been through a month and a half of it, right? And it's George Hill hasn't played very well so far in the finals. Tristan Thompson is he limits you offensively.
Yeah, he is what he is.
Even though he's pretty good on the boards, and he'll get you some offensive rebounds, and he'll play some interior defense.
Yeah, he is what he is.
When the Warriors go small ball lineup, he's a liability on defense too.
I'm looking at the Cavs players who played. They had nobody with a plus in their plus minus.
Yeah.
And one guy came out even. And it was the only guy to play who didn't score.
Was it Jose Calderon?
No, they didn't go that deep into the bench. They played 9.
Okay.
But he didn't even score, and he came out even. And it was Kyle Korver.
But
he also only played 11 minutes. So they significantly reduced his minutes for Rodney Hood.
Yeah.
But still, Hood scores 15 points, still minus 12. They can't give LeBron enough help. Curry and Klay were so bad.
Yeah.
And they still won the game.
By 8.
Yes.
A lot of that is because Kevin Durant was just on.
Yes.
All night.
But if he's on and LeBron is on, wash. Just wash. Whatever. He was better than LeBron, but when Klay and Steph go 7 for 27.
Yeah.
And score 21 points, you have to win that game.
I mean, Steph started the game 0 for 9 from 3.
Yeah, it's bad. And they still lost. But the Warriors still had 6 guys scoring double digits. Now, all of them had 10 or 11 points.
And the other 2 guys that scored had 8. I mean,
right.
So there were, 9 players that scored for the Warriors in the game? 8. There were 8 players that scored.
Yeah.
And all of them had 8 or more points. So it's like this narrative that Kevin Durant had no help last night, and he just single-handedly beat. It's like just because Steph and Klay didn't shoot well.
Yeah. Like Sean Livingston, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Jordan
And that was
Bell,
that was
4 or
the
5.
first shot that Sean Livingston had missed in the entire series.
Yeah, give him MVP. Iguodala, 3 or 4.
When Jordan Bell puts up 10 points, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean everybody shot 50% except for Klay and Steph. Like he got help. It just wasn't all from like 1 or 2 guys. It was the team, and that's what LeBron didn't have.
Jordan Bell is the perfect example of a guy who, because of what's around him, will flourish more. Right?
Oh yeah.
Whereas like
anybody on that team,
if Jordan Bell was in Memphis this year with the Grizzlies and all their injuries, and he was just with Tyreek Evans, we would not be like, he'd be a nobody.
That's basically anybody that's ever played in their team, like Maurice Spates or Andrew Bogut.
Well, like, I will say before Bogut, and Bogut's another guy that got an injury when he was playing for the Warriors, a bad knee injury.
Yes.
But he was an interior defender.
Right.
At the first couple of years of their run.
But they leave, and it's like, oh, where are they now?
Yes. Yes.
You know?
And it's because of they're elevated by the core of the Warriors, which at that time it was Steph, Klay, Draymond.
It's the same with JaVale McGee. It's just reversed. He gets there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, JaVale.
Well, it's
but yeah, it's because who he's playing with.
It's a big credit to not only the other Warriors players for putting him in positions to succeed, but specifically the coaching staff of that team for not giving them assignments that they will fail at.
Right. And they trust everybody.
Yep. Because they're only asking people to do things they're good at.
Right.
Whereas opposed to if these guys were playing 30 minutes a game on a bad team, they're going to be asked to do significantly more, a lot of other things that they aren't proficient at.
Right.
And you wouldn't be talking. I mean, it's like JaVale McGee. It's like Sean Livingston, for example. The dude missed his first shot of the series last night.
But he's fresh because he's playing 20 minutes a game.
But he's out there for less than half of the game.
Yep.
He's basically out there in the first half if Steph or Klay gets in the foul trouble. Or he's giving them a rest in the second half.
Or just finishing out a quarter.
Exactly.
They had 4 guys basically play the whole game.
Yeah.
And then they had another 4 that played, decent minutes.
Yep.
12 to 22 minutes. They're deep. Which is a credit to Kevin Durant's contract to keep Iguodala and Livingston there.
Yep.
So
I mean, if and those 2 guys, 39 minutes, 16 points between those 2 guys. I mean, that's huge because if they don't have Iguodala and Livingston, then you're talking about Nick Young playing 15 minutes.
Yeah,
you're talking about Patrick McCaw playing 15 minutes, and those guys, while Nick Young is a good perimeter shooter, it's about all he's good at.
Yeah.
And McCaw, I don't think, is on the level of Livingston offensively.
Yeah, you'd have to rely on heavier minutes on your top guys.
And that too.
Basically like LeBron playing all but 1 minute. So.
I mean, he can't come out, man.
No, he can't. Although he might come out real early tonight when it's all over.
Where in the world did Jeff Green go? He was so good late in that Boston series.
And he was pretty decent in a couple of these games.
He played 18 minutes. He had 3 points in Game 3.
I don't know. It almost looks like they had a plan. Like, okay, we're going to chuck up a ton of threes because Kevin Love came out and did it. J.R. Smith did it. LeBron was 1 of 6. It's like they almost said, okay, these guys are the ones who are going to shoot it. Rodney Hood shot 11 times. They had basically 4 guys shoot all the shots. Because Tristan Thompson's are just going to be around the rim. So, the
biggest discrepancy between the 2 teams from what I've been seeing just in the 3 games of the finals here is how hard and consistently the Warriors work off the ball.
Oh, they're the best I've ever seen.
And compared to Cleveland, which really only has 2 ball handlers. It's George Hill and it's LeBron.
Yep.
And they run I would consider old school point guard type offense where your guy brings the ball up the court, everybody's in their spot, you might have a pick, and it's like the difference in just what the players off the ball do for the Warriors and really everyone else in the league, because even the team that they beat in Houston in the Western Conference Finals, a lot of isolation plays with Harden and Chris Paul.
They're very ball dominant, which is so great for the Warriors because it allows Draymond Green to just run the point.
Yep.
Because he's not going to shoot the ball anyway.
Nope.
You don't want him coming off a screen. He's not going to shoot it. So therefore, you have like a double barrel action going on.
Yeah. You
got Clay on one side, Steph on the other. Oh, hey, here's Durant.
Yeah. I found myself. I was playing 2K the other day, and I was controlling the player that was defending Draymond, and he passed it, and so I followed the ball, and the dude dished it back to Draymond, and I was like, "Oh, shoot it! Just please shoot it!" And of course, it's 2K, so he's just draining like 5 threes in a row. And I'm like, he can't do that. Come on. But it's to your point. I mean, they can let Draymond bring the ball up the court, and then Clay sets his pick for Steph, and the guards don't know if they should switch or not.
Right.
You have to try and work over the screen, which would imply that you're not going to switch. But then the other guy thinks that you're going to switch, and then Thompson's wide open.
Yeah.
For an easy layup or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's every time up the court, these guys are working hard off the ball. And
it's pretty unstoppable for the most part.
You know what, to me, is one of the most interesting stories of this finals? Do you remember, was it the first half of Game 1? Was it the first quarter of Game 1? When J.R. Smith slipped and took out Klay Thompson's leg? And he left the court, and I'm thinking he might be done for the series.
Yeah.
It did not look good. Like
it was close, yeah.
You saw the leg bend unnaturally at the knee.
Right.
And his foot kind of got trapped underneath him as he fell down. And he goes back to the locker room.
If he went in harder, it probably would have been much worse.
Dude played 41 minutes in Game 3.
Yeah.
41 minutes. Now, he wasn't very good on offense. But he's still balling up J.R. Smith on defense.
Yeah. He had the highest plus minus. Him and Iguodala. Oh wait, no, Durant did. But they were close. So he didn't shoot well, but he was still making impacts elsewhere.
It's unreal, man.
Still making impacts.
I still remember it kind of ties into Kevin Durant as to why he's on the Warriors now. Like, I watched a video where it talked about why Russell Westbrook is ridiculously overrated. And the video started with, these are all the skills that Westbrook has, and it's all of the talents that he has and what he can do on the ball and how he sets his teammates up. But then But watch what he does when he doesn't have the ball in his hands.
You're talking about Clay?
We're talking about Russell Westbrook.
Oh, Westbrook.
About why he is so overrated.
Yeah,
and the video,
but he has the ball in his hands all the time.
It was like 3.5 minutes of just he's amazing with the ball. He does all these things with the ball, and then it's watch what he does when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. He does nothing. He stands 30 feet from the basket with pom-poms, watching
the play.
Raymond Felton, try and create something.
He's not a threat.
No,
where all these guys are threats with or without the ball. Like, double threat.
Yeah.
You gotta be accounted for at all times if you're these three.
It's the exact same thing with James Harden. The only difference between James Harden and Russell Westbrook is that James Harden is a better shooter.
Yeah. He's more of a threat from 3.
At me. At me.
Oh, it's not even close.
Like, that's the only difference in their game. Now, I will say Harden gets more foul calls. So he shoots a lot more free throws.
Yeah.
I mean, he shoots more free throws than anybody, though.
In the history of anybody.
But they both suck at defense. The only difference is that Russell Westbrook tries.
Yeah, he's more athletic and might get an athletic block. because he can jump really high. Or he'll track somebody down, do the LeBron block or something.
But it's unreal, man. I mean, and the narrative, if I can kind of go in on the Thunder here for a second, the narrative that Russell Westbrook doesn't have enough help or has never had enough help is just so ludicrous.
He needs a lot of help. I
mean, he had Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
And then he had...
Well, actually, Durant had him.
Well, yeah. and then Oladipo had him.
Yeah.
But Westbrook just suffocated Oladipo's game. And then Oladipo goes to Indiana, and they take LeBron to Game 7.
Yeah, they had a better year than OKC.
And the player that Indiana sent back... And do you remember how everybody was crushing the Pacers for this trade?
I know. I'm like, well, what did you expect to get back?
For Paul George.
And probably a pick, like a first-round pick, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, they got good players for him. And they had a better year than Oklahoma City.
Yep.
And guess who's not going to have Paul George next year?
Oklahoma City.
Guess who's still going to have Carmelo Anthony?
That is... Okay.
They're in trouble.
He has, a player option for $28 million?
A lot of money that's going nowhere.
They're struggle bussing. They are struggle bussing hard in OKC.
Like Steven Adams might be their second best player next year.
He's their best player because he plays defense. He shoots a high percentage on offense, and
you don't expect a lot from him.
Ball. He works off the ball. He's their best two-way player.
They're bad. They're so overrated. Whatever.
It bothers me.
I like Portland better than them.
Yeah, me too.
Well, of course they did finish higher. So
you brought up Portland, and it reminded me of something that Chris Broussard said recently. He said that the best fit for LeBron James, from a scheme perspective, is Portland, because they have the guards, they have the big, they need the wing, right? So like the best fit to just walk in. He doesn't have to change anything about his game, is Portland. He's not going to Portland.
And their players are better off the ball than a lot of other teams.
And that makes me think about where could we see LeBron James next year? Because, I mean, you and I both agree this finals is over. Like, it's not too early to start talking about it.
No team's ever come back from 3-0, and it's still not going to happen.
I agree.
If they win tonight, I'll be shocked.
Well, I think the Warriors learned from the season where they went for the best record in history, and then they were down 3-1 to the Thunder, and then they lost the finals. It's like they spent too much early. They peaked too early.
They don't care about regular season anymore.
They sleepwalked to 59 wins?
Yeah, 2 seed,
58 wins.
Like they don't care. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll go into Houston for Game 7. We don't care.
They won Game 1 and Game 7 in Houston.
Yeah, they don't care. They're going to do that for many years to come. It was like Cleveland a couple years ago when the Pacers had the 1 seed. Or the Raptors had the 1 seed. They don't care.
I will say, the players on the Warriors team, I think, have a better chance of long careers because of how they work off the ball.
And they all play together, so they don't have to be the guy every night. Yeah. They got 3 guys that can take over the game. That kind of helps.
And if you want to count Draymond's defensive proficiency, he can take over the game defensively.
Yeah, and he's a triple-double, just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So, although he only had 2 rebounds in Game 3. Otherwise, he would have had a triple-double almost.
Well, they had him on LeBron, didn't they?
Probably more so, because Durant was getting foul trouble, Clay was getting foul trouble. Yeah, and he had the most fouls on the team, so...
Yeah.
So after tonight, NBA will be over, NHL's over.
After tonight, NBA will be over. I'm not ready to say that the Cavs are going to lose Game 4.
I'm going to call it. I'm calling game.
Calling season?
Calling season.
All right.
They're going to celebrate in Cleveland again.
Then you tell me, where does LeBron James play basketball 2018, 2019? Does LeBron James play basketball 2018, 2019?
He's going to Philly. Brian Colangelo resigned.
I saw that.
He's going to Philly. The floodgates have opened.
I really don't think he's going to Philly.
It's Philly. It's Philly, or he just stays in Cleveland and calls it a career because they have nothing around him. Maybe, what if Golden State wins tonight and they fly back to Vegas to go celebrate?
They catch the Capitals before they leave.
Yeah.
They're like, let's party together.
Yeah. Dual
Let's
party.
hit the streets. You guys take the left side. We'll take the right.
Because I bet you the Washington, they're still celebrating right now.
Oh yeah.
They'll still be celebrating tonight.
Oh yeah.
They'll be celebrating when.
Do you think any
they
of those
fly in.
players have gone to sleep yet?
They probably just went to sleep, and then they're gonna wake up and go party again because they're like, "Oh yeah, we're in Vegas." Boom.
It's like their team flight was scheduled for this morning at 7 a.m. or whatever,
And it left with nobody on it.
Yeah. It's like, all right, all you guys,
Autopilot.
yeah. You can Uber back to DC.
Oh yeah, they're still in Vegas partying so hard. No. It's gonna be like a week long. They're gonna have to postpone their own parade
because they're gonna be partying for too long.
Or they'll bring the parade to Vegas.
They will parade from Vegas to DC, literally across the continental U.S.
Oh my god,
how epic would that be?
That'd be awesome. Considering the game last night was so good.
Yeah,
it was so good.
That would be a lot of fun to watch and track, like on the national news. It's like, hey, the Capitals parade's rolling through Omaha today.
Yeah, they go through every NHL city on the way.
Oh man,
they're in St. Louis.
They stopped in Tampa.
Like what? Now they're celebrating.
Oh,
in their face.
An extended stay in Pittsburgh for the Capitals this week.
All the Crosby signs, like, yeah, where are you now?
Yeah.
Now all the Penguin haters are gonna be like, oh yeah, but does he have 2? Yeah. And then Ovechkin gets 2. Oh yeah, does he have 3? And then Crosby has 3, and it's like, okay, it'll never end.
I want to play off that last point that you were just making. Does he have 2? Does he have 3?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of LeBron versus Jordan now, right? Where it's like Michael has the perfect 6-0 in the finals. He only got there 6 times in 15 tries.
He had the same issue that LeBron had. Like, he ran into juggernauts.
Yep.
But it's just that LeBron's were in the other conference. So he met up with them in the finals.
Yeah.
Jordan's were in his own conference.
Well, LeBron's was in his own conference first. He had to get past the Boston juggernaut, and that's why he went to Miami.
And before that, it was even Detroit.
Yeah.
So Detroit had a little run, then Boston had a little run, then it's just been him.
And it's literally LeBron.
But then he's running into the Spurs of the world.
Well, and I mean, you want to talk
Warriors.
About the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. And Parker and Ginobili.
With 2 of the 30 best players of all time. With Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard. And one of the 3 greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
And
just great players around them.
I think there have been 2 of his 9 finals appearances that his team's been the favorite.
Yeah, that had to have been 11 and 12.
It was the Mavericks in 2011, and it was the Thunder the following year.
So he went 1-1 in those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's been the underdog. Like, it's not like it's his fault. He's basically
a historic underdog.
Yeah, like 07, they weren't gonna win.
Yeah,
he didn't have enough help. And then 2011, he played bad. That was probably the only finals where he was just terrible.
And the funny thing is, I think he still averaged like 24, 7, and 5 or something.
His shooting percentage wasn't there.
Yeah,
and so he was bad, but then all the other ones he's been really good. So like, it took Jordan forever just to make the finals.
Yeah.
So he was drafted in 83, 84, 82. I don't remember. Whatever. It was sometime in there.
I can look it up.
I get them all mixed up with the Ralph Sampson draft and his draft and
1984, 3rd pick to the Bulls.
Okay, yeah, 84. Okay, so then he didn't make it until 91. So that's 7-8 years where he didn't even make it to the finals. LeBron made it in 3.
I think it was his 4th year.
Fourth year. Okay.
Because he was 18 when he was drafted.
Right. So
and I think he was 22.
Yeah, it was his 4th year.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like, they're just different players in different time periods. Going through teams that they got to beat. I mean, essentially, if Jordan I'm trying to think. I think I would probably say the East was better back then too, when Jordan was going to the finals, because he had to go through like Knicks, Pacers, mainly those two. I think
the first couple of years he still had to get through the Celtics too.
Right. And then I know his first finals was against Magic when he came back against the Lakers.
Yeah.
But that was at the end of their run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
the seas kind of parted a little bit for Jordan to take over.
yes.
Whereas like it was the end of the 80s super
Right.
teams.
And
it was before Kobe and Duncan
right.
and the Lakers and Spurs really established themselves. So it was like the Lakers had a small lapse. The Spurs hadn't exploded yet.
And really the only team which I find this really weird, the only team in the West that seemed to be any like a big time threat towards them was the Rockets, but they never played the Rockets.
Well, and the Rockets won both finals. The Bulls didn't.
Right.
In the mid-90s.
But yet they didn't make it when Jordan was there.
Nope.
And I'm like, how? But then the Jazz teams at the end were really good.
Yeah.
But they couldn't match up with Jordan.
But they didn't have 4 Hall of Famers.
No, they had
on
2.
Those Jazz teams.
It was very even, and yet the Bulls still beat him in 6, because he never went to a Game 7. So
yeah,
I would say the East teams back then gave him a bigger problem than the West. Where LeBron, it's the West giving him a problem, which just happens to be in the finals. You know, because the East isn't any good, really.
Yeah, I hate this. I hate the 6-0 narrative. Like, I despise the 6-0 narrative.
Right, it's all circumstance. It
all depends on how far do you make it before you lose.
Right.
Right? Like, now, the undisputed part is that of Michael Jordan's 15 NBA seasons, he won the championship 6 times, and he didn't get there for 7 years, right?
Right.
And so, like,
so it was backloaded.
6 of his last 8 years, he won the championship.
Right.
Right? And so, like, that's amazing. And that's undisputable. That's GOAT status.
It's pretty good.
But he didn't get there for 7 years. And then, whatever the circumstances of him retiring after the first 3, and then retiring again after the second 3, and it's like LeBron James from day one has had the weight of the world on his shoulders. He carried a terrible team to the finals against the Spurs in 2007.
So they played about the same amount of time now.
They have the exact same number of seasons. This is LeBron's 15th year, Jordan's 15th year. And the main difference between them in the playoffs is that LeBron gets further more consistently.
Yep.
And LeBron was never swept in the first round of the playoffs.
This
Jordan was twice.
This might be a lot easier if Jordan would have made a final or 2 in the 80s and played the Lakers when they were at the peak.
Well, he wouldn't be undefeated in the finals.
I know. That's why this would be different.
Yeah.
Because that Lakers team was so good. And while Jordan was really good, even like 87, 88, 89.
Yeah.
It was so tough to get past the Pistons and the Celtics back then. Shoot, even like there were random spurts of Sixers or whoever back then. It was so tough to get by anybody. It took the Pistons forever to do it.
Yeah. And
they had a 2-year window where they finally did it and they won both times. And then after that it was Bulls. I mean, the Pistons, they had to suffer through all that of not getting by the Celtics. So, yeah, this might be very different if Magic and Jordan had that rivalry in the 80s.
Yeah.
Instead of Bird and Magic. Because you think of Bird and Magic and you're like, oh, yeah, Jordan played in that era too. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay. Oops.
Yeah.
They're only 5 years apart, age-wise.
Yeah.
They were drafted 5 years apart. So, I mean, they were still playing in the same era. Sort of like Kobe and LeBron. They were drafted 7 years apart.
I believe Kobe was 96 and LeBron was 03.
Yeah, so 7 years apart, but still played in the same era. And they never met in the finals.
Nope.
Which is weird.
Well, because how many finals did Kobe's make?
2000, 2001, 2002, 2004, 2008? No. 9.
What's his record?
9
in
and
finals?
10.
Is he 5-2? I know he has the 5 finals wins. 3 with Shaq, 2 with Powell.
Yeah, they lost in 2004. And then they went back-to-back in 9 and 10.
So was he 5-1?
Did they lose to the Celtics in 2008?
I think so.
Did they play each other 2 out of 3 years? What year did Orlando make it? Oh, that was 9. Okay, so yeah, I think he went 5-2. I think he lost in 2008.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's 2008 because the Celtics won that year. That was the wheelchair. That was the wheelchair series.
Oh, Paul Pierce.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he went 5-2. He won 3 with Shaq. Yeah, 2 with Powell.
Yeah, so Kobe Bryant made it to 4 NBA Finals while LeBron was in the league, and LeBron's made it to 9. He made it to 7 while Kobe was in the league.
Yeah,
and it was never the same year.
Yeah,
out of the 13 years, either Kobe or LeBron was in the finals 11 times.
I think there was a thing where it was either Kobe, LeBron, or Duncan was in every final for like X amount of years. You know what I mean?
Outside of 2011.
Right.
Well, and LeBron was still in the finals.
But it was like...
But yeah.
Yeah, like 2000 to... I guess now.
Yeah.
Even still going.
Yeah, it's been Kobe, Duncan, or LeBron.
Has been in every finals.
Every single finals, represented by one of those 3 guys.
Right, because Kobe was 3 years.
And they lost to the Pistons, right?
In 2004?
The Lakers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the next year, because the Lakers and Spurs basically alternated.
The only one off was Heat Mavs.
Yes.
In 2006.
Yes.
That was Dwayne Wade and Shaq versus Dirk and...
Company.
Yeah. Versus Dirk.
Versus non-super team. The last non-super team to ever win.
I do think that Dirk is going to have a very unique place in like the legend of NBA history.
Oh yeah. I think as his legacy marinates and kind of people soak it in and realize, wow, that dude won without the help that these guys have now.
Yeah.
Against a team like the Heat.
Against a team that was specifically put together
by
the players on it to win all 4 years that they were there.
To dominate.
Oh yeah.
Not even win, just
it wasn't
dominate.
Even supposed to be close.
Just
I remember
dominate.
I attended Game 3 of that finals in 2011, and it was tied 1-1 because the Mavs just had the crazy comeback in Game 2. And I remember my dad and I we went to this game, and we both said, if the Mavs lose this game, because they had just gotten home court, and I was like, if the Mavs lose this game, it's over. And they lost Game 3,
yep.
And then they won the next 3 games.
Yeah.
It is like, dude, it was
weird.
So improbable.
It was.
And
that's why LeBron was a huge favorite.
Yeah, well, I think it was, I was watching a video. It's like that 2011 Mavericks team had one of the greatest and most improbable playoff runs, not just the finals appearance, but like to win the finals, how they got there.
Yeah, they beat good teams.
They beat the Lakers coming off of 3 consecutive finals appearances. And they swept them in the second round.
Back-to-back champs.
They beat the Thunder in the conference finals.
Who were the up-and-comer.
Only losing 1 game. You know, I forget, who did they play? Was it the Trailblazers in the first round, and they lost 2 games there?
Yeah, it went. Like, they won 2, lost 2, won 2.
Yeah, and so like they go to Game 6 against the Trailblazers, and then they sweep a team going for 4 consecutive finals appearances, and then they beat the team that was the Warriors before the Warriors were the Warriors.
Their big 3, who were up and coming.
Their young 3.
Yeah,
because I think they were 22, 22, and 21 at the time.
Yeah. Who went to the finals the next year.
Yep. And then they beat the super team in Miami.
And never went to 7 games.
Nope. I mean, their playoff record was 16-5. They were 16-5 against Kobe's Lakers, the Heat, the OKC Thunder, with everybody, Ibaka and Harden included.
And then the Trailblazers, who had Aldridge... And the
Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy, yep, the guard who kept
kept turning his knee. Before Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Before Derrick Rose made it cool.
Yeah. The non-MVP type Derrick Rose. Yeah, they'll go down. I mean, I see it every year. Like, oh, congrats to the last team to not have a super team.
Talking about the Mavs.
Yeah, there's always like a meme or something about it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yep.
Well, and that was, I think it helps Dirk's place in his legacy in his career that everybody wanted the Mavs to win. Like, if you weren't from Florida and if you weren't just a LeBron homer,
right?
Every single NBA fan in the world was rooting for the Mavericks.
Even just if you were a casual fan who hated LeBron.
Well, but that narrative's flipped now because everybody wants the Warriors to lose, unless you hate LeBron, right? And like the main difference is there are a lot more people that hate LeBron.
I think it's a natural instinct to go for the underdog too.
Exactly, and we're talking about monumental underdogs.
Yeah,
I mean the supporting the second best player on that Mavs team was hurt for the playoff run. Caron Butler.
Yeah.
You had Jason Kidd at the very end of his career.
Yep.
Jason Terry at what should have been the very end of his career. He kept playing for another 5 years.
Yeah.
You had Sean Marion on that team?
Sean Marion.
At the very end of his career.
He was good.
You had tail end prime Tyson Chandler.
Yep. And then
he was probably the second best player on the team.
You just had role players after that, like Deshaun Stevenson.
Oh,
Brian Cardinal.
God.
Stud.
But I think Dirk hits home with a lot of NBA fans because of his loyalty, which you're not seeing anymore, right?
Right.
Like Paul George wanted out of Indiana, LeBron left for Miami, Garnett and Ray Allen both went to Boston, right? And it's like you don't see that type of loyalty anymore. And Dirk,
you won't.
Well, there's no. If you want to win, you can't.
Right. Unless you just fall into place.
Unless your team gets so lucky like the Warriors did.
Yeah, where you just draft everybody within like a 3-year span and boom, they're all really good.
Yeah, but the thing is you have to draft them because you have to be able to go way over the cap to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can do that is if you have them on the team for 2 years before their contract expires. And the only way to ensure that you can do that is to draft them or trade for them really early on the rookie deal, right? And so it's like you can't just build teams like the Warriors. The Warriors couldn't build a team like the Warriors.
Right, and they don't get Durant without drafting all those guys.
No.
Because then it's not a place to want to go play.
I also don't like this narrative that if they didn't have Durant, they wouldn't have won the last 2 years.
Well, they still could have.
Because
very much so.
They gave up Harrison Barnes to get Durant, and Harrison Barnes is a rotation guy with Iguodala that can stretch the floor, can do a lot of different things for. I mean, he's the best player in the Mavericks.
Yeah.
It's not even close. I mean, the second best player is 19 years old, right?
And
you have Dirk at the end of his career.
Well, in their regular season, they didn't have that great regular season. They didn't have Durant.
No, they set the league record with 73 wins
without Durant. Yeah, they'd still very much be in the mix. Obviously, he helps a ton.
Yeah,
but it would also depend on where he was, I guess.
If he was still in OKC,
right? What if he was in Cleveland? Or something like that. Never know. But I mean, if he's like in some team, like who cares where? Like Memphis, like doesn't make a difference.
Yeah,
whatever. Him and Mike Conley aren't going to take down the Warriors.
But him, Marcus Gasol, Mike Conley, and Tyreek Evans.
No,
I know. Not enough efficiency.
They don't have Fizz anymore. They're done.
Well, Fizz is with the Knicks now.
I know.
Take that for data.
I kind of have to root for the Knicks now.
Dude, I love Fizdale.
Fizzy.
One of the most pure, honest, truthful,
press conferences,
raw press conferences I've ever seen.
It was great. It's number 1 in my book.
Zach Randolph, one of the most rugged players in the game. He shot 9 free throws for the game. Or whatever it was.
Yeah, for the series.
Kawhi, yeah. It's like Kawhi Leonard shot 22 free throws, shot more free throws than our entire team. Explain it to me.
Yeah. If only Avery Johnson would have said that 12 years ago.
Oh, in 06?
Oh, my God. Whatever.
I was
now I'm thinking about it. I think the Mavs might have the only like single star champion in the last who knows how long.
because you had Shaq and Kobe, and then you had Kobe and Powell, and you had Duncan and Leonard.
Right.
I think maybe the Spurs championship in 2007 over the Cavs, where it was really just Duncan. I mean, would Tony Parker and Manu count?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're way better role players than what the Mavericks had.
Yeah.
And they're not even role players. They're.
But are they Hall of Famers?
I mean, basketball Hall of Fame is so loose that yeah.
Okay. Well, and there you go.
There's no NBA Hall of Fame. There's basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So everybody gets in. Tracy McGrady got in last year.
Well, I mean, did you see that comeback he had on the Spurs? Where he had like 4 threes in the last 4
So he had one defining moment. One.
It's enough, Tyler.
That means anybody who ever hit 3 home runs in a game in MLB should be in the Hall of Fame.
I'm in.
Defining, or 4.
You know what that means? You know what that means? Mookie's already in.
Good. He should be.
Mookie.
He's more deserving already than Tracy McGrady ever was.
Maybe.
And he's played like 3 years. Or whatever. Like 3 really good years. He's already in.
My favorite baseball player ever is Mookie Betts.
He's already in. It rhymes with cookie. How can you not like it?
Well, and that's Magic Johnson's wife. We can come full circle here.
Cookie. Cookie.
Yeah.
Good NBA talk. Since the season is over.
It pretty much is. Do you want to jump into the World Cup?
Yeah, World Cup.
I've had the website pulled up here. Let's look at the groups. Russia should come out of their group.
Okay, so I got times listed.
Oh, like game times?
Yeah.
Matches? I can probably find that.
I don't know if this is local time, if it's what time it is. I'm guessing it's local time. It says 1600. So that's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, well...
And it's in Moscow.
I don't know, because France and Australia play at 5 in the morning. I'm not sure about that.
Huh? Wait. France, Australia, Group C?
Yeah, okay, so you have local time here over... If you're looking at what I'm looking at.
I'm not looking at that. Okay, what does yours say?
FIFA.com/World Cup/matches. 5 p.m. local time, which is 7 in the morning our time. So there's a 10-hour difference.
Okay, for which game?
For the first game, which is Egypt-Uruguay.
Well,
the first game, okay. The first game's Russia-Saudi Arabia, sorry. And that is Thursday.
Okay, yeah.
And that's 6 p.m. local time, which is 10 a.m. our time.
6 p.m. local time?
Yes.
Then why does mine say 1600?
Mine says 1800. I'm on FIFA.com. What are you looking at?
BBC.
Well, there's probably only a 2-hour difference. That's probably English.
Oh, that's their time.
That's probably UK time.
It's only 2 hours from Moscow to...
Moscow is really far west in Russia.
I know, but still, like, UK is on an island.
But it's above France. Like, it's not like...
Okay, whatever.
Way over there.
All right, so this is probably UK time. Okay, so what time local?
It's 6 p.m. Russian Moscow time.
10 o'clock here.
And it's 10 a.m.
Eastern
I'm assuming time? Central.
It's probably Eastern.
Yeah, and it's on Fox.
So we're
Fox
looking at
has the World Cup.
So we're looking at morning games here in the U.S.
Yes, unless like it's the late night games. It looks like the latest game I see. There's a 2 p.m. game between Croatia and Nigeria.
God, this is perfect for me.
Yeah, 2 p.m. is the latest game that I've seen in the entire group stage.
So basically we're looking at, let's just say that's Eastern time. So it's like 9 to 1 Central, roughly.
The earliest game I saw was 5 a.m.
Oh.
And that's France-Australia plays a 5 a.m. game. Huh. And I'm pretty sure this shows Central time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, sweet. Like every single game outside of that one is going to be played between 7 a.m. and 2 p.m.
That's awesome. That's way better. I remember waking up so early for the South Africa World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Games were at like 4, 5, 6 in the morning consistently. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, well, it's because they were playing during the winter.
I know.
In South Africa.
It sucked.
So they were trying to get all the games in during the day.
Although, like, the round of 16 meant it was at, like, noon.
Yeah.
So that was nice, but, yeah, that sucked. Okay, so, yeah, so I'm looking at Group A. Group A is very weak.
I mean, Uruguay is probably the best team.
Yeah.
And then I think Russia would edge out Egypt.
Yes.
Even though Mo Salah is probably one of the top 5 strikers in the world right now.
If he plays, Russia should still get it.
Yeah.
But he may not play. And then it's just a cakewalk for Uruguay and Russia to just move on.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, usually Group A is not very strong because they want the host country to make it, especially if you're Putin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Russia's got the first game against the easiest team.
Is it Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, first game of the tournament.
FIFA really threw him a bone there.
Yeah, they always throw a bone to the first team. Unless you're South Africa, and then...
So you think Uruguay wins the group?
Probably. And then Russia second. Egypt third. Saudi Arabia last.
Group B is also a pretty easy group.
Yeah, that one's...
Portugal and Spain will come out of this group.
Yeah, probably in that order. Because Ronaldo's a monster.
Group C, man, France is going to take a crap on this group.
They should, but didn't they struggle to even make it? Was it France? Or was it Italy? Or Italy didn't even make it.
Portugal and Argentina were 2 of the last teams in.
Right. Maybe it was Italy that didn't even make it.
I think so.
Yeah, Italy didn't even make it. Okay, so maybe that's what I'm thinking
of. As far as I know, like France, young players like Pogba is one of the veterans on the team at 24, 25. I mean, they have the only player in the world who's as young as Pulisic, who's better than Pulisic, which is Kylian Mbappe. Like that dude is insane.
Where is Benzema French?
Karim Benzema?
Yeah. Is he French?
I think so.
Sounds right.
Antoine Griezmann is French.
Griezmann. I love that guy.
Thomas Lemar is French.
Yeah.
Pogba is French.
They have good players, but yet I feel like they always underperform. Does it feel that way?
Maybe a little.
In these big tournaments?
Maybe a little.
Like they might make a quarterfinal, but they can't make the semifinal.
So who's the second team out of the Group C?
Dude, these teams are all pretty even.
That's quite like
it's
Denmark.
I would say Australia, but they always seem to like find a way.
It's gonna be Peru then.
Probably. This might be their first time in, and who knows how long.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be that group's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight with those other 3.
Yeah.
And if France gets off to a slow start, it's gonna get real interesting real fast. So.
Yeah.
That France-Australia game, you always want to make sure you get at least a draw in that first game. But we'll see. We'll see.
Group D is Argentina's group through and through.
Yeah. And Croatia's second. But I love Iceland.
Dude. Everybody in the United States should root for Iceland. Like, if you don't have a team to root for, root for Iceland.
Yeah, might as well.
Populate the country. Population size of Corpus Christi, Texas. To quote Taylor Twellman, right?
Yep.
Like that it is incredible that they are here. And I hope they have a good showing, because chances are, even against Croatia and Nigeria, definitely against Argentina, chances are they're just completely outclassed.
Yeah.
But I mean, you want to see maybe some Leicester City magic goes their way, They have like that one counterattack goal and they win 1-0.
Yep. They're going to need
just
that
38 times.
Because they play Argentina first.
Oh, man. They could lose all their confidence so quickly.
I know. But then...
That sucks.
Let's see. Then they get Nigeria, so they can get it right back. And then going into the final game against Croatia, that second spot might be on the line.
Yeah.
You never know. Never know. But it should be Argentina and Croatia.
What they need Argentina to sweep. Like, they need Argentina to win all 3.
Yes.
And then they need Croatia and Nigeria to draw. Right?
Or even have Nigeria win.
Yeah. Because
they should beat Nigeria. And Nigeria should not make it.
That's their winning matches then versus Nigeria.
Yeah. It needs to be. If they can somehow squeeze out 1 point against Argentina, that's huge.
Group E. Man, are there any tough groups?
It's a different tournament. There's so many weird teams. Okay, so like we've already gone through teams that we usually never see. Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Iceland. Peru.
Morocco. Iran.
Peru.
Yeah, Peru, Denmark. Iceland, yeah. Like every group has those teams where they're never known to be really good, but they got good players now.
Yeah.
So there's not really a group of death. There's just lesser groups or competitive groups.
Brazil should win all three.
Yes. Switzerland's pretty good. They usually have a pretty good squad.
So are they second in this group?
Probably. Costa Rica, though, I root for CONCACAF. So
yeah.
I kind of want them to pull something out here, but they're looking at third. So
not even worth talking about Serbia?
No, not really. Not really.
Group F. This might be your group of death with Germany, Mexico, and Zlatan.
I don't think Zlatan's playing. I don't think he plays.
Is he not?
No, he didn't play in their qualifying, which was surprising as to them making it because they had... I remember keeping up with them because they were a big talking point. They had a bunch of young guys. They kind of went in a different direction.
Interesting.
Than what they previously had. And so them qualifying was a big deal because now they've got like 22, 23, 24-year-olds running the ship.
Interesting.
So no Zlatan.
But yeah, Germany's going to win this group.
Yeah. And I would expect Mexico to get second.
I think, honestly, Germany's B team would win this group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jumping down to Group G, Belgium and England should come out of this group.
Yeah. Belgium's to lose for sure.
Yep.
Who is that?
What's up with England's national team? They just haven't been great for the past couple.
I don't know. And I think Rooney's done with them.
I think they moved on.
Yeah,
they got Harry Kane now.
Yeah.
At the striker.
They have enough to get out of this group because Tunisia, no. Panama, probably not. I think it's their first ever World Cup. So maybe that can catapult them.
CONCACAF, let's go.
Maybe that can catapult them. You never know. England's known to blow some games, so.
Man, this group. I look at this and I think, how did the United States not make it?
I know.
That's the only thought in my head.
And Italy,
yeah, Italy and the U.S.
And you think it's bad over here? I can only imagine what the Italians are going through right now. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the World Cup.
I'm proud of that.
Colombia is the best team in this group.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. And honestly, I don't even know who's second.
I would probably give it to Poland just because of Lewandowski.
Yeah, probably.
Because of the other three teams, he is by far the best player on any of those teams. But then, Japan comes up because Heung-min Son, and I'm like,
yeah.
Maybe.
They're usually undersized, though.
Yeah. Especially against Poland.
Yeah. So Colombia should be out
to win.
I feel like a lot of these, we know who the top team is.
Yeah.
But man, you throw in those second teams and anything can happen because there's a lot of unknowns. There's so many new teams or teams that you don't expect to be there, but they have a player.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially Egypt if Salah plays.
Dude, that guy was unreal this year.
He's good. He's good.
He kind of came out of nowhere. Liverpool got him on the cheap going into the season.
Yeah.
And he's in the Ballon d'Or conversation.
Should be.
With Ronaldo and Messi. It literally is Ronaldo, Messi, him, Neymar.
Yeah.
And then maybe Harry Kane.
Speaking of Neymar, is he healthy yet?
I think so.
Okay. Because they need him. Brazil needs him.
I think actually him going to PSG is going to help his international career because PSG plays in such a weaker league against much weaker competition. I was watching Neymar. He was literally just running tricks around people all season. I think he led the league in assists and also scored more than one goal per appearance.
Right.
And it's just he was running laps around that league in France, which is why there's talk that he might go back to the BBVA. And I think I heard there was even a rumor linking him to Real Madrid, which would be as a successor to Ronaldo, I guess. But yeah, I think he goes into the World Cup with more energy to dedicate for the national team, as opposed to being, for playing for Barcelona and the physical play of trying to beat the Real Madrids and the Atletico Madrids in both the league and in the Spanish Cup and in the Champions League. You know, like I think that he's played less football, which means he should be more rested and more ready to go. And I mean, Brazil, the last match that they played that meant anything. I mean, they played the third place match and they lost that too. But the semifinal match against Germany was an absolute disgrace.
7-1 or whatever it was.
That was the match after Neymar got hurt, right? Like he got kneed in the back and he had a broken bone in his spine.
Yeah,
and then like the entire team was just deflated. You know,
it was bad.
I see Brazil bouncing back.
Well, they might have the toughest road. Not group wise. Well, group wise, yeah, their group's kind of even, like in the bottom. But like, let's say they win the group. They got probably Mexico, which is probably the hardest game for any team that won the group in the round of 16.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at matchups, and really Group F is the only team that screams, well, Group B maybe, with Spain and Portugal. But those two groups scream like, oh, we have two really good teams. Like elite level teams where you don't want to play them if you win your group.
Yeah.
So, like, you might have a Uruguay-Spain matchup and a Brazil-Mexico matchup where, like, Belgium might play Poland or Colombia plays England. You know, it's not as bad. So, Brazil might play Mexico in that first game, you know.
By the way, looking at the knockout phase schedule, every single game will be played at either 9 a.m. or 1 p.m., with the exception of the final, which will be played at 10 a.m. Every other game will be played at 9 or 1. So,
awesome.
Yeah, it works out pretty well, and I'm sure that they'll be shown in primetime here in the United States. You know, like they'll show it live, and then they'll probably play it again at like 8 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah, they might, or like on FS1 or something, replay it.
Yeah.
You said it was Fox, right?
Yep, Fox has the coverage.
So, yeah, it'll be on Fox earlier, FS1, FS2, what other Fox Sports? I don't know. I'm excited. But I guess really it starts on Friday since Russia's going to destroy Saudi Arabia in the first game.
Yeah, but the first match is on Thursday.
Yeah.
The tournament starts Friday.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like NBA free agency starts July, but the clock's ticking now.
Right. Basically, and it just goes in order. You know, you're in Group A, you play first. You're in Group H, you play last. It's just the way it go.
Yeah.
It's the way World Cup go.
That's how football go.
Yep, football.
As opposed to American tackle football.
Yeah, so the end of the opening games are Tuesday, June 19th. Then they have a couple days off to start the next games. And then, yeah, something like that. I don't know. Wait, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, 19th. Oh, no, never mind. They're consecutive. I was just looking at the wrong schedule. But yeah, each team has like 4 or 5 days in between games. So
who if you had to pick a team right now to win it all that's not Germany,
dang it,
who would you pick? Because I think Germany's the odds-on favorite.
Oh yeah, they're the defending champs. Man, just looking at these matchups, it's like, yeah, you have Germany and then you have another group of teams.
Like the Belgium, France, Brazil, Argentina,
Portugal.
I'll
even throw Spain in there. Like,
if you're going to put Spain in there, are we going to put England in there?
No.
Well, then I'm not putting Spain in there.
Okay. I'll say Argentina's because that was the final. Wasn't that the final?
Ooh.
I thought Messi made the final.
We have breaking news, and Argentina did make the final.
Okay, what?
Shohei Ohtani was just placed on the disabled list with a sprained UCL will be reevaluated in 3 weeks' time.
Uh-oh. That was a concern coming into the year.
Mm-hmm.
Was his elbow.
Just happened. Literally just broke ESPN.
Be interesting to see when he comes back and if he's pitching or just hitting when he comes back. It's unprecedented territory. You know what? I'm gonna go with Belgium to win it all. If Germany does not.
Belgium has so many good players
I
at
know.
the top.
And
The main question for me is, do they have the depth? Like, do they have that Mario Götze that can come off the bench to provide the fresh legs and give them a big goal like Germany to win the World Cup?
No, they got size. They got
They have size. They have pace.
Who's the midfielder?
They have Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard. They have De Bruyne and Hazard, who are two of the most creative footballers on offense.
Yeah.
They have one of the top goalkeepers in the world in Thibaut Courtois. And they have one of the strongest and most prolific strikers in the world in Romelu Lukaku. I know, breaks the U.S. hearts to talk about him.
They should be in the running. Like, they should make a final with this squad. Like, they have to. Don't they have who's the defender with the hair?
The defender
Fellaini?
with the hair.
Fellaini?
Oh yeah, Fellaini.
Yeah. I love his hair.
I mean, I was thinking of was it David Luiz? But I think he's Brazil. Thiago Silva.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking of him with the hair.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think he's not Belgian. But yeah, and
I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah, because Belgium also has Michy Batshuayi, who was Chelsea striker, who's now a Borussia Dortmund striker. I mean, they've got a lot of top class players, but I think the question for me, it comes down to, like, I like the depth that Argentina has more, and I like the depth that, like, France has more. But man, if Belgium is on, I don't think there's a team that can play a more dominant style of football.
Right. And let's see, their groups. Germany's Group G, right? And Belgium's F.
Mm-hmm.
Or opposite, whatever. One of them's F and one of them's G. So they would be on, if they each won their group, they'd be on opposite sides of the bracket. So they could avoid each other.
They could face in the final.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that would be huge especially for Belgium, to avoid them.
Yeah.
As long as possible. Yeah, Germany's in F, Belgium's in G. So yeah, they would avoid each other.
There you go. Maybe that's your World Cup final matchup is Belgium-Germany.
That's what I'm going with. I'm sticking to it. F and G.
Dude, I like France to make it far. I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win, but I like France to make it far. I think the young explosion of talent, I mean, Griezmann, Mbappe, Lamar.
They should make it to the quarterfinal, no problem.
Yeah, I think, and when you get that far, you're just talking about who can win one match,
right.
You know, and crazier things have happened. Right?
Unless magically Argentina finishes second or they finish second.
Oh yeah,
and then they play
each other.
Yeah. But if it goes according to plan,
would that be the best round of 16 match ever?
It would be one of them.
Man,
I know there have been some good ones though, because teams don't know how to win their group.
Yeah,
you know. So we'll see. What if Germany doesn't win their group and they play Brazil?
If Mexico wins that group, you're saying, and Germany gets second?
Yeah.
Dude, if Mexico
on
wins
like
that
goal
group,
differential or something.
Yeah.
And Brazil plays Germany.
Chicharito.
You have a rematch of that semifinal
in round 1 of the knockout stage.
Be interesting.
Oh man.
So yeah, I like Germany to win it all, but I'm gonna have them play Belgium in the final.
You're gonna have Germany play Belgium?
Yep. That's what I'm going with. Belgium doesn't have to worry about the U.S. this year.
My all dark horse final is gonna be Belgium-France, but I expect to see a rematch of Argentina-Germany in the final. But like the underdog dark horse final would be Belgium-France.
If I have to go super underdog team to just go on a tear, that isn't in that second grouping?
Colombia. Yep. I was thinking, dude.
Because they're in that grouping. They're just maybe at the bottom.
They're gonna have a lot of confidence coming out of their group stage too.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna walk all over that group.
Yep. And they'll play England or Panama, in their round of 16, and then they just play whoever after that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good team.
Yes, they are.
They are so good. So they can make some noise if they get confident at the right time. Other than that, I don't really have any other teams that I'm that excited about.
Well, I mean, I would have been excited about the U.S., but
yeah, maybe Iceland. Let's go Iceland.
Yes, everybody needs to be Iceland fans. Everybody.
Iceland.
Do they still do the crazy soccer celebration goals? Do they
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. They're probably doing it right now.
Okay. The Capitals flew them into Vegas to teach them how to celebrate.
Probably.
No.
And then the Warriors are gonna hang out with them.
Yeah, they're gonna get a call from Draymond. Hey, we need you.
It's like, hey, we need some size up front. In the front line.
We need some creativity on the bench. I don't think our bench is they're hype people, but they're not creative hype people.
Right.
We need creative hype people. I will say though, is it?
Oh, by the way, Iceland's game is Saturday, the first Saturday.
The first Saturday.
Yep.
So hey, good viewership maybe.
Yep. At whatever time.
Yeah.
10ish or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that one might be earlier. Might be like 8. So Saturday morning. Make sure I watch that one. That one's against Argentina too. I think that'll be interesting. Because you don't want to come out over enthusiastic. You want the draw, but you want the win.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody gets down early in that game, it's going to open up. Floodgates just open. But then again, you don't want to get down in goal differential in case of a tie. So,
were you reading? A story came out, I think, in the past couple of days. Hope Solo said that she hopes that the U.S. bid for the 2026 World Cup fails.
Yeah, well, she's a downer. That's because she got kicked off the team. She wants nothing to do with...
You'd call her a Debbie Downer, but her name's Hope.
She doesn't want anything good to happen for the World Cup or the U.S. Soccer Federation or anything, because they basically kicked her off the last squad.
They kicked her off the squad, and then she lost the election.
Yeah. It's like, well, you
president.
don't exactly have the best track record of anybody, so you kind of lost benefit of the doubt on anything.
It's true.
So, whatever. It's not like she has any say in it or negative pull in it, so...
Man.
I'm sure FIFA's really taken that one to heart.
Did you, to kind of change topic here, did you read the story that LeBron might meet with the Warriors this offseason?
I'm sure he'll meet with them and see what is up.
Entertain what they have to say.
Yeah. And I'm sure they'll entertain what he has to say. You might as well listen. It's like listening to trade offers. Like, yeah, you're probably not going to trade. Like, let's say you're the best player in whatever sport. You're probably not going to trade them, but you have to listen because you never know. You never know if they're willing to give up their next...
Herschel Walker.
Yeah, they might give up their next 20 years of first-round picks. You just never know.
Like the Nets?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
They traded away, was it Pierce and Garnett?
Well, they traded for Pierce and Garnett.
Well, I'm at the Celtics.
Oh, right.
They had Pierce and Garnett coming off of a championship like 2 years previous.
Yeah. They traded them and Terry.
Yeah.
And something else. Yeah, for just a plethora of first-round picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just never know what you're going to hear.
It's true.
I'm sure the Eagles aren't very interested in trading Carson Wentz, but... if somebody's...
if you're offering Aaron Donald and 2 first-round picks...
Yeah, you might listen. You might listen.
Yeah. Not that the Rams would do that because they have Goff, but...
Yeah, you always listen. So, yeah, they're going to probably talk to each other, and they'll be like, well, if we did do this is what we got to do. They might have to do a sign and trade Clay and whoever to make room. Whatever the deal is, they'll discuss it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
What if LeBron James goes to the Warriors with the promise of, oh, yeah, I'm going to do the KD thing where I sign the 1-year deal and then I re-sign and then I re-sign, and they clear space for him on the roster, and then he screws him. And so he can't beat him in the finals, so he destroys him from the in. Like he destroys him from the inside.
I don't know if that's even possible.
LeBron James would be the savior of the NBA. And he would be crushed for going there for a year.
God.
And then he goes elsewhere, right?
So,
he goes there just to break up the 4. And so then they're just left with Steph and Durant, And then LeBron's like, yeah,
and some
now
of
I'm
them
gonna
are
go to Philly.
Some of them are in Cleveland, so then he just goes back to Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so funny.
Like a sign and trade.
Well, I think we were talking about this. I think LeBron is set up to go somewhere for another 4 years, and then when he's 37, turning 38, I think he goes back to Cleveland to finish his career.
Yeah, I expect a max deal with this next contract.
Do you think he signs long term, like max for 3-4 years? Because
but I don't know how they can finagle different opt out clauses. Like I don't know if there's specific years where you can opt out, but
yeah,
he might do that. Or if you just sign a max deal if you're just there. I don't know. I don't really know how that works, but I expect him to take pretty much the max. Because this is probably the last time he'll have a chance.
You're probably right.
And then after that, he's just playing to play wherever.
So takeaways from today. Congrats to the Capitals.
Yeah.
Go Iceland. The NBA Finals is as over as the Stanley Cup.
Yes. It was actually over before the Stanley Cup.
The Rangers are a terrible organization.
Yeah. No pitching. And World Cup games will be in the morning.
And they start Thursday.
So we don't have to wake up super early. Yeah. For most of them.
Or stay up super late.
Yeah, that too. Of course, I don't remember ever having to do that, but...
Well, yeah, if it was in, Australia...
Where was the last one?
The last World Cup?
Yeah.
Brazil. Rio.
Oh, that's right. Which was basically our prime time.
I think it was an hour... Was it Eastern Coast time zone?
I think most of the games were 1 hour ahead of Eastern.
Okay, yeah.
So 2 hours, difference. That's great.
That's like watching the NBA Finals game.
At 8 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're done.
So, yeah. And then when it's here, it'll actually be our time.
If it's here.
When it's here.
Apparently people are trying to get in between that, prevent it from happening.
So, yeah, we got the nice, middle ground of you wake up, you watch soccer, you go on with your day.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
It's like watching a premiere game.
You can catch some on your lunch break, man.
Yep. Especially if you take an early lunch.
Yeah.
And a long lunch. Like a 2-hour lunch.
Yeah.
So you can watch Iceland, Argentina.
I don't know if I actually want to watch that match. It might be 5-1.
It might be. But if it's not, then you're like, oh, Iceland.
Iceland. Corpus Christi.
And start doing the clap.
Oh, no.
Do it.
So is that about it? You got anything else?
No. I'm done.
You done?
I'm done for life.
All right. Well, then...
For life.
What are we rooting for the Warriors to sweep the Cavs tonight?
I was rooting for the Warriors to sweep, yes. But that was after the first game.
Okay. All right. Well, then...
Less is more.
Congrats to the Caps. Go Warriors, I guess.
In Iceland.
And, yeah, find a team to root for in the World Cup. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
See y'all.